Today I've got some exclusive RX 9000 info along with AMD's reason for the delay as well as a goof by AMD. But before I get to all that, scalpers are losing their minds and the first RTX 5080 benchmarks leak. Welcome everyone to Gamer Meld. Okay, it's news time, and first up for today, NVIDIA's RTX 5090 isn't even out yet scalpers are already selling it for absurd prices. As you can see right down here, it says, how is scalping happening this time? One eBay seller claims to have, quote, guaranteed slots due to their employment at a retailer. They promise to purchase the card under their name and send it to the buyer with no option for returns or refunds. And you can actually see right here, people are trying to sell it for absolutely absurd prices. We're talking as much as $7,000. This one right here is $5,000. And what's wild is that the $5,000 one actually has a bunch of watchers. Not only that, but you can see that one listing is already gotten 8 bids and gotten over $3,000. Then another one right near $3,000. I mean, this is absolutely wild. Now, I will say that according to reports from Germany, NVIDIA will attempt to curb business-to-business sales for the RTX 50 launch. It says many scalpers exploit this channel to purchase products tax-free and resell them at significantly higher margins. Unfortunately, apparently no such measures have been reported in other regions. As you can see, in fact, reports indicate that Vietnamese shops are already selling the RTX 5080 a week before the official launch. Basically, please do not buy these. If you want to stop scalpers from doing this, just hold off until there's actual availability. I know that it definitely sucks waiting, but just be a little patient. And next up for today, the first benchmarks for NVIDIA's RTX 5080 just leaked. But before I get too deep into that, it's a new year, which means new goals like finally learning to code or how to make your own AI chatbot or really just about anything in computer science, because there's no better place to reach those goals than with today's sponsor, Brilliant, the ultimate online learning platform that teaches you the way we're meant to learn. They don't just throw a bunch of random facts at you or make you memorize a bunch of junk. Instead, you learn by actively doing it yourself. I personally not only learn faster with Brilliant, but I also end up with a stronger grasp of the concepts because I'm the one doing it. And they do all of this with these fun and engaging puzzles. I really can't recommend them enough. But don't even take my word for it, because when you visit brilliant.org/gamermeld, you'll get a free trial to see it yourself. Plus, when you visit brilliant.org/gamermeld, you'll get 20% off their annual premium. So there's no reason not to check it out. Once again, that's brilliant.org/gamermeld. Now back to the story. As many of you know, NVIDIA's RTX 5090 reviews have already dropped, but the 5080 has still been a mystery. That is, until now. As you can see right down here, we have some benchmarks from the Chippewa forums that have leaked. Starting things off, we have a couple 3D Mark benchmarks, and as you can see, based on the reported score of 32,701, this is 3D Mark's Time Spy. That is 15% faster than the RTX 4080 Super, which, as they state, averages around 28,305 points. Now, if you followed this channel, that likely isn't much of a surprise, because as I've gone over specs and things like that for quite a while now, we pretty quickly learned that the RTX 5090 was set to have hands down the biggest boost over last gen cards. Obviously with DLSS 4 and things like that, it's able to get better performance than that, but when we're talking strictly rasterization, it's looking like, at least according to 3D Mark's Time Spy, that we can expect around a 15% performance boost. With that said, they do also have another score where they claim that the 5080 was actually overclocked, and that got 34,896, which I believe is around 23% faster than the RTX 4080 Super. Not only that, but we actually have some other scores, specifically from Geekbench. We have an OpenCL and Vulkan score. Now here you can see the RTX 5080 scored 261,836 in Vulkan and 256,138 in OpenCL. Now when compared to, they actually compared to the regular RTX 4080 here, we can see that that actually puts it 22% faster in Vulkan, but only 6% faster in OpenCL. Of course, this isn't too much of a surprise just because the 90 card also doesn't do that great in OpenCL, but does do quite a bit better in Vulkan. So I really am thinking, because of these scores, that we really are likely set to see around a 15 to maybe 20% performance boost when moving from the 4080 and potentially 4080 Super to the RTX 5080. And of course, that is likely a disappointment for many of you, but like I said, if you follow this channel, it likely isn't much of a surprise. And lastly for today, we have a bunch of new information regarding AMD's upcoming RX 9000 GPUs, including an exclusive story here that I'm going to go over. But to get to that, I first have to go over this story. As you can see right here, this is a wild one, but basically AMD forgot to turn off some promotions for their RX 9000 cards within Reddit. And you can actually see it right here. It says, when the stakes are high, every play counts. Play now with the ultimate performance of AMD's Radeon RX 9000 series graphics cards. Once again, proving that AMD absolutely did delay the release of these cards. And of course, we have heard that that is March. And I'm actually going to kind of go over a little bit about why they did that. But this is definitive proof of that. Of course, if you've been following this channel, you know that early on we had said that according to basically all the leaks, these were going to be announced, and they were announced at CES, but obviously they didn't launch in January, aren't going to be launching in January, but originally the plan was to release them in January. Either way, back to this, one of the things that they share here is a reference design, a new reference design that a lot of people are rightfully thinking is the reference design for RX 9000. And sort of that is the case. Basically, AMD actually had reference design cards at CES when they were showing off their new FSR 4 and just showing off the new cards in general. It was clearly not a third-party design, but according to actually some board partners with AMD, they verified with me that AMD is not actually releasing this reference design. How it works is they are obviously going to have to do things like advertisement like they have right here. They're obviously going to have to show people the card, show it off like they did at CES, but they don't want to show favoritism to a particular AIB by taking their card and then putting that in advertisements, or then putting it in their systems that they're then letting media play around with so they can test them out, stuff like that at the announcements. So instead, they basically make their own reference design, but from what I have heard, they are not selling this. Meaning, unlike the RX 7900 XTX, where they actually had a reference design that they made and sold, they are not doing that with this. Once again, this is just for reference, so they aren't showing favoritism to certain board partners. Obviously, they'd have to pick one of the board partners and then put it in the advertisement. They just don't want to do that. So this is really just for reference. And that obviously is my exclusive story that I wanted to get out there, let people know, but it doesn't stop there, because AMD's own David McAfee, this is the person who originally announced that, hey, these are in fact coming in March. You can see he's the VP and GM of Ryzen CPUs and Radeon graphics, and he actually responded to Hardware Unboxed, who was happy that AMD delayed the RDNA 4 cards to March. As you can see, they think that it's the right move. And in his response, he actually sort of went over why they ended up doing it. And you can see right here, it says, I really appreciate the excitement for RDNA 4. We are focused on ensuring we deliver a great set of products with Radeon 9000 series. We are taking a little extra time to optimize the software stack for maximum performance and enable more FSR 4 titles. We also have a wide range of partners launching Radeon 9000 series cards, and while some have started building initial inventory at retailers, you should expect many more partner cards available at launch. So basically, it sounds like they did this for two reasons. First is to ensure the software is well optimized and ready to go at launch, which I definitely think is extremely important. I'm always happy to wait a little longer for them to get everything ready to go. Less bugs is always a plus, especially if they're just trying to push something out quickly to beat Nvidia to launch. And the second reason is apparently to have more cards for the launch, which I also think is a great reason. Meaning, while it does suck at times to have to wait, I think we'll get a better product for it. Fingers crossed, AMD can do something special here. So while that does it for today, are you pumped for AMD's next-gen RX 9000 cards? Or are you more excited for NVIDIA's RTX 5080? Let me know down in the comments below. And don't forget to try out Brilliant for free at brilliant.org/gamermelt. And as always, have a great day.